Houston, our instruments are showing that we have a incoming message from deep space. Repeat, Houston, we have an incoming message from deep space. Houston, we will begin playing message now. Houston, we're going to try and translate that up here. Hold for translation. Translation complete. We'll begin playing message now.
Hey, it's me, Melissa.
What do you do when the aliens invade? Take a shot of MK Ultra and watch Melissa Jade. Put on your tinfoil hat and tune right in. We got their crime spree, flat earth theories, government conspiracies, a complex Mandela effects, unidentified objects, a mind expanding, fake moon landing, what are dolphins understanding? It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa. Aliens is on the sun or in Area 51. Time travels, unravels, haunted castles, cops are baffled, potential experimental plots that make you transcendental. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa. Crime sprees, flat earth theories, government conspiracies, complex Mandela effects, unidentified objects, a mind expanding, fake moon landing, what are dolphins understanding? It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa.
Hello, everybody. Hey, Destination, Cool Gamer, Creative Minds, Margie, Chezzy, JAS, MK Schmegma, Chloe Moon, hey, Lee the Bee, Lee Ann, Creative Minds, Hilson House of Crazy, Harlot, People Me, Chris, you took the host out of your name, Margie, Iris, Homer, hello, Shane, Julie, Kimberly, Scott, Amanda, oh no, I'm gray, I'm so sorry. Hey, Debbie Doodles, Tina, Fragile Like a Bomb, Fragrant Anxiety, and Lori. Ooh, I made it to the top of that one. Simply Complex, Sarah Bellum, Tina, Howdy, Jennifer M, Truth Exposed, long time no see. Hi, Lisa. Edith. Cool Game. I think that's the first time I literally got like everybody in a short amount of time. Wow. I mean, I whisper it in a way where not everybody can hear it, but he hears it. Hey, Shelly Beans, Petunia. So we last left off yesterday with day 5 at the end, and I paused it, and I'm really looking forward to Spencer Wilson. There's one witness before him, but it's very, very short. And then Spencer Wilson is the infamous interview. Hi, Alaskan Amber, with Letecia with her back turned to the camera. And for context purposes, this was the first interview that we saw with Letecia. A lot of us knew. Hi, Crime Crochet Cafe. A lot of us knew Letecia was guilty from the moment that we saw that interview. This interview happens as Letecia and Harley are moving their items out of the MK. That was good though. That was good. Hey, ATS News. That was good. In all the wrong ways. Hi, Eyes of Brown. So this is as Letecia and Harley are moving items out of the house and into a moving truck with her family. Her family are there. And then they go to stay at the extended stay hotel. So Spencer Wilson catches her as she's leaving. And then from there, Letecia leaves the extended stay hotel where her family is staying and says she's going to pick up dog food. That is when she goes back and recovers Gannon's body, puts it back in her car, comes back, and then they move all of the items from one moving van into another, which ultimately Letecia and Harley would travel across the country with Gannon in the back. And this is where her brother sees her struggling with a very large, heavy suitcase, and he offers to help her. And she says, no, I got this. And he says, well, what's inside of it? And she said, my softball equipment. Well, that was a lie. It was Gannon's body. Again, another close call, like right there, inches away, another person once again. So this was a very big interview. It was pivotal in this case, especially as watching from the outside, and to have Spencer Wilson on the stand, I'm really looking forward to it. Hi, Amy G. Yeah, why, Tisha, why? We didn't get to him yet, but we're on our way. Drive safe, Kate. Hi, nope, not today. So before we even get started, you guys know the deal. Our missing child for 2 nights live is Isaiah Carter Atkins. Isaiah has been missing since December 4th, 2023. Look at that face. From Auburn, Alabama. He is 1 year old. There is an associated child, Kalani May Bagaj. They were last seen December 4th, 2023. She is 3 years old, so if you or anyone you know has information on their whereabouts, please contact the Lee County Sheriff's Office in Alabama at the number located in blue. Okay. So beautiful, Chris. So beautiful. They all are. Every child, man. It's just really sad. All right, so we last left off with a detective on the stand, and we saw a lot of photos. We watched the video of Letecia leaving with Gannon the morning of the murder, returning back. We watched Lena be sent off to ride her bicycle as Letecia is cleaning up the murder. Hi, Jones in. Hi, Carol. And so that's where we last left off. So I know that I think we have a detective up first, very short, and then Spencer Wilson. So let's just jump right into it. Again, I'm playing this from Recovery Addict's channel. His link is in the description of this live, and I will drop the link throughout it. That missing baby was so cute, man, with that little outfit. I can't. I know, Jenny B, but you have to remember this trial was pretty long. So even though it's taking us, like, this is my part 11, we're only on day 5. You know, it takes me about 2 lives to get through 1 day's worth. Margie, you're so sweet. So, you know, we're only on day 5, but as you can see, as we observed last night, she's starting to act up, right? She's starting to giggle more. She's starting to do her smirk. She's getting there. Trust, she is getting there. Hi, Tony. All right, so this is the witness we ended with. So
any of the jurors had any questions? So you may step down. A juror doing that.
You look at her laughing.
Best pampers, and it looked like a really good idea.
Aw, Jones, and thank you very much, girl. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. Hold on, let me get a...
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Oh, you got 2 because I had it on a loop. I hate when that happens. I feel like it takes away from how funny it is because now I just looped it, so it's not as funny, but thank you very much. Hi, it's not rocket science, dude. Tina, I know. Hey, Shacto, Stephanie, Nicole B, drive safe, Tony. All right, so she's laughing at the fact that everybody is up there giving such intense testimony, yet we're all still guessing, right? This is our best guess at what happened. Hi, Emily. Hi, Darlene. Oh, no, Beach Lover. But she is the only one to this day and forever, honestly, that will truly know what occurred Monday, January 27th, 2020. Honestly, the January 25th, 26th, and 27th.
And says no objection. The clipping, the audio is not loud enough for it to be picked up, and it cuts off the no when we just hear
Witness
objection. We actually say no objection. The judge has ordered the microphones are turned off at the two table, managing the.
Detective Peter Vigil.
This is a very quick witness.
Vigil. All right. Detective Vigil, if you would step forward and raise your right hand, sir, please.
And then we have Spencer Wilson
Take your
next.
time. Should play music next time.
You swear affirm the testimony about to give in this panel will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Ready? Go ahead and have a seat in the witness stand. Please watch your step as you step into the stand.
Judge Werner, sit your sexy ass down.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name for the record?
Detective Pete Vigil. My last name is spelled Vigil.
And what is your occupation?
I'm a detective with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been with the sheriff's office?
13 years.
And have you been a detective all those 13 years?
About the last 3.
Back
God.
in January of 2020.
Dude, all of the, have you noticed the majority of these detectives, even though they have an extended history and length in the field, they all happen to have started in this special unit or division right at the time of the murder, right at the time that they were on. It's just so weird. They were all newbies.
What was your role?
I just transferred to the SVU unit of the Investigations Division.
And were you asked to go out to 6627 Mandan Drive on January 28th of 2020 to assist in a search of that residence?
I was.
About what time did you get there? Do you recall?
Hey, Meg.
I don't. It was dark.
Yes, Amy J. Hey, Brona.
Who was there when you got there?
When I got there, it was the house. The first time I went to the house, there was me and another detective, and the house was off, and we were just told to contact people inside the house if anyone was there.
You're very, very soft-spoken, so you may want to just pull that microphone closer to you a little bit.
There we go.
Is that better?
Is it better for you?
It is.
All right.
Thank you. Did you have issues with getting into the house when you got there?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So me and my partner, we knocked on the door, made several loud announcements to see if anyone would come out. No one came out. So then I decided just to sit outside and see if anyone would show up to the house or if anyone would come out and maybe just didn't hear us. Some moments later, we saw lights come on and the garage opened up, and then we contacted people that were in the garage.
So you were
And
hiding.
who did you contact in the garage?
Haley and Liana.
Oh, God.
Was it Lena?
Yes, Lena.
Oh, no. Listen. I know it's been 3 years. No, I should be good by 9, Benny. I know. I remembered. I know it's been 3 years. I know it's been 3 years since the murder to now when the trial is taking place. But Haley and Liana, for Rizzle, like seriously, my dude, it's Harley and fucking Lena. Like when he said that, I was like, shit, man. Like they're all butchering these names throughout every witness throughout this entire trial. Oh, you do, Bendy? Oh, snap. Don't mind if I do. No, really, I should be good by 9. I really just wanted to do Spencer Wilson, and he's next, and it's not that long.
Garage.
Haley and Liana.
Okay.
Was it Lena?
Yes, Lena.
And Haley Hunt? Harley Hunt, I'm sorry.
Yes, Harley Hunt. Sorry.
You got me saying Haley.
Sorry.
So Harley Hunt and Lena are in the garage. Did you say, what's going on? Why didn't you open the door?
I did, but I don't remember what they said to me.
Okay. Did
Harley
you
was
eventually go
told
in
not
and
to
search the
answer that
house?
door. Hi, Ashley.
Was it Detective Farrell with you as well?
Yeah.
And was there another detective?
Yeah, there were several of us.
Was that Detective Arndt?
Yes.
Okay. Is that who your partner was when you were trying to get in the house initially?
Fun fact, every time I hear Detective Arndt, not the same Arndt, but there was a Detective Arndt in the John Benet Ramsey case. And if you weren't around when I've gone through her chilling interview, because she was one of the only people, one of the first to arrive because it was Christmas Day with John Benet Ramsey. And what she's got some crazy eyes, But what she claims happened, and it's chilling. It's chilling. So every time they say Detective Arndt, I think of her.
Yes.
So what I want to do is focus in on Gannon's bedroom and that search of the house, okay? Did you go into his bedroom?
Yes.
Did you notice any smells when you went into his bedroom?
Yeah, like an ammonia bleach smell.
The first witness to testify, there was indeed a smell. Every witness prior didn't recall any type of smell. So this witness recalls an ammonia smell.
What did that mean to you?
Cleaning supplies. It's like it was being cleaned. We've all.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Did you see cleaning supplies in his bedroom?
No.
Thanks.
Just
Where was, I'm sorry. My fault. Where was the smell coming from?
So the light switch was when I was originally told to take pictures of the house once we first got there. So I took pictures of the entire house. When I got there and I was at the threshold of his doorway, that's when I started smelling it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started smelling in more obvious areas.
Yes.
There was a light switch. And then when I entered the room, the smell got stronger as I would get into the room.
And did you eventually look at his mattress of his bed, Gannon's mattress?
Yes.
And did you see what appeared to be blood on his mattress?
There was a stain on the mattress.
And did you swab that stain?
Yes.
And did you swab different areas of that particular stain?
Yes.
If I may approach, I'm going to hand you what's been marked as 278 and 687.
These are probably going to be
278 is a package of 2 swabs from the bed on the east wall.
And is that the swabs that you took from that mattress that had, was it blood or what? What did you think it was?
I didn't know what it was at the time.
Okay.
I don't think any of us did. So we swabbed and just sent it off for testing.
All right. So does that contain the swabs, at least of the portion of the mattress that you did on January 28th, 2020?
Yes.
And is that package still sealed?
Yes.
Do you need to open it to see if the swabs are in there?
No.
Move to admit People's Exhibit 278.
No objection. 278 will be admitted. Go ahead.
Now let's go to People's Exhibit 687. What is People's Exhibit 687?
Swabs from 2 additional swabs from the bed located on the east.
Is that the same mattress,
Riley?
Gannon's mattress that you swabbed on January 28, 2020?
Yes.
Do you need to open that package to see if those swabs are in there?
No.
Move to admit 687.
No objection.
Or at least I put it on your chair there. People's Exhibit 277. Do you recognize that picture?
Yes.
And what is that picture of?
The storage room in the basement of the address.
And did you take that picture?
Yes.
And is that actually depict the storage room as you saw it on January 28, 2020?
Yes.
Move to admit People's Exhibit 277.
No objection. 277 will be admitted. Go ahead.
None of us can actually.
You know, at this time, I'd request to publish People's Exhibit 312, which is already in evidence. Vigil, sorry, it's been a long afternoon for me. We're looking at People's Exhibit 312, which is a still taken from January 27th of 2020. Do you recognize the storage room in this still?
It's the same storage room, but it wasn't like that when I took a picture of it.
What do you mean?
That it's been altered or someone was going through it and moved boxes.
Okay. I showed you guys the full walkthrough of the police body cam. Do you recall the storage room with the boxes looking like that? Now, granted, they were there, but they weren't in that very, and I don't want to say cluttered because they were, but they weren't like that, if that makes sense. Like they were still stacked and all over the place, but they weren't like that. Well, we know what was under the boxes.
Were the boxes stacked up like that on January 28, 2020 when you went and took photographs?
No.
If we can now go to People's Exhibit 277.
Harlot.
We may have to mute it, Your Honor, so we can get 277 on there. So is this what that same area looked like on January 28, 2020, the next night when you were there?
Yes.
The boxes aren't stacked up as high?
Hey, Alicia. He was actually.
looks very
Those are my
different.
questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
No questions.
Of course.
Do any of the jurors have any questions for Detective Vigil? No?
All right.
Thank you, sir. You may step down.
Okay, it is 6:20 right
Prosecution.
now.
We have Spencer Wilson.
Call your next witness,
Let's see
please.
who else, how much more they have.
Thank you, Judge. We would call Spencer Wilson.
Spencer Wilson. This may be the last witness of the
Look
day.
at Tisha.
I expect they'll be finished probably in fairly soon.
Mr. Wilson, if you would step forward and raise your right hand, please, sir. Come up a little farther. It's all right. Right there's good. You swear affirm the testimony about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Go ahead and have a seat in the witness stand. Please watch your step as you step into the stand.
Spencer's looking good with that.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. Have you ever testified before?
No.
We couldn't tell. I'm kidding. Would you please introduce yourself to the jury and then spell your name for the record?
Yes. My name is Spencer Wilson, Spencer. Wilson, Wilson. I'm a reporter with CBS 4.
All right. That's what I was going to ask you next. I want to jump back even prior to now. What kind of training education do you have that allows you to be a news reporter?
I have a degree from the University of Missouri in broadcast journalism, and going on 10 plus years of experience as a television reporter.
I've never had the opportunity to do this before. As a Jayhawk, I have to say rock chalk to a Missouri grad.
I will just say MIZ and leave it at
that. Back in January of 2020, who were you working for then?
Remember the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial? And we had the TMZ guy?
KKTV 11 News.
What was your job assignment in that time period?
I was a multimedia journalist, which just means that I'm a cameraman as well as a reporter at the same time. So one-man band.
2 jobs.
Was it
one
common
pay.
for you to cover stories in the Pikes Peak region, Colorado Springs, El Paso County?
Very common, yes.
As a part of your job, would you sometimes interview people out in the community?
Yes.
How many interviews do you think you had done at that time of your career?
Thousands.
On-camera interviews?
Yes.
Thousands? Did you start to, at some point, cover the Gannon Stauch case?
I did.
How did your coverage start in that case?
It was kind of bouncing around between different reporters. Eventually, one day I was put on the story, and I can't remember if it was the very first day or if it was the second day I was doing the story, but I was out there and made contact.
They can't admit it, Scott, unless there's a witness there to testify to it, right? Has it been altered? You were there. You can confirm that this is indeed a legitimate video, and they want, as you'll see, the video is very unique, and they want to ask questions about it.
Contact with Letecia Stauch.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. Was there anything odd about you making contact or the way the contact unfolded for you?
Yes,
Right,
I can remember it very clearly. I was on the sidewalk. We were just covering a search that day in the neighborhood. And there was a big moving truck and also a car pulling out of the neighborhood. And somebody rolled down their window and started to chastise me for coverage, being out there and reporting on stuff, and questioned the way that I was telling the story. That person was Letecia Stauch. And I realized that. And I said, well, if you got such a problem with this, why don't we go talk about it?
Let that sink in. Look at her face. Look at her face. Ladies and gentlemen, right there. Right there. She is proud. She is proud. Okay? I could just slap her. In the middle of her, I could imagine, unless you're a psychopath, it being an extremely stressful situation, right? She had just committed a murder, dumped his body, but still needs to recover his body in the future of this interview, on the run, leaving the house. They're on to her. But what is Letecia? She already did the Bethel interview, so they got her phone, got her tiki wand, went to the hospital, made the great escape, slept over at Harley's friend's house. She's already doing the most, and she should be in a very high anxiety, stressful situation. And as she's moving all of her shit out, her and Harley picking up their life, putting in the moving van, and before she goes and retrieves Gannon's body, she rolls down her window and is like, yo, you suck. She starts chastising him for his reporting. Only Letecia would fucking think of even bothering with that at that moment. That is true narcissist fashion of, yo, your story is so far from the truth. Let me hop out this moving van and let me set the record straight. So pay attention to her face. Look, and she lifts up from her fucking coma. She's folding like a fucking lawn chair, but watch how she fucking rises. Like, whoop, when she hears that.
Telling the story. That person was Letecia Stauch. And I realized that. And I said, well, if you got such a problem with this, why don't we go talk about it?
Look at her.
So when this, you described two vehicles. What you said was a moving truck. Was this like a van, like a utility van?
Yeah.
And then the other vehicle, what kind of vehicle was that?
No better description than just a standard car.
Okay.
Not like a truck, not a SUV, little car.
Which vehicle was the defendant in when the window rolled down and there was words said towards you?
The car in the front, the moving car was behind them. She was not in that car.
So she was in the actual vehicle,
that is correct.
Passenger vehicle. What seat was she in?
Oh gosh, I couldn't tell you.
Okay, that's fine.
Ooh, you got low.
I believe driver's seat, but I don't feel super clear on that.
Was it immediately apparent to you that the person that was saying these words to you was Letecia Stauch?
No, it took about 5 seconds. And since I had been keeping tabs on the case and the social media along with it, a lot of people were talking about her at the time. And then when it did click, I had this moment of, oh gosh, this is the people everyone's trying to talk to.
What was her demeanor like when she did that?
Angry, I guess is the best way to put it. She was not excited that I was there. She was not excited to see other members of the media there. There was a lot of people down there covering the story. And just the words she said to me were basically, you're doing this wrong.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so then that's when you make this arrangement to go talk somewhere else. Did you in fact do that?
That's correct. I offered to do an interview. She mulled it over for a quick second. There was some conversation in the car. Eventually she said, okay, we'll give this a shot. And I said, being the reporter I was for that station, I don't want everybody else to have this at the same time. So let's go somewhere else. And she agreed that it would be a spectacle if we were to do it right there. So we drove to a construction lot, maybe half a mile away.
Okay. And just for contextual reference, was this on January 31st, 2020?
Correct.
So roughly, I guess, 4 days after Gannon was first reported missing to the police?
That's correct.
So tell us, how do you go about setting up doing an on-camera interview in a general sense? And then how did you do it in this case?
Generally, I will talk to the person beforehand, kind of give them an explanation of what's about to happen. This is all while I'm handing them a remote microphone that will then clip onto some part of their body somewhere. And then I begin by asking them to say and spell their full name and explain who they are to the story. That's fairly standard practice. I think almost every reporter does that ever. The difference on this story was a part of the circumstances where Letecia was willing to talk to me was in the event that she did not have to show her face. And so I try to get creative because I desperately wanted to have this interview, but at the same time, I could not show her face, which is difficult for TV because we have to show things. I came up with the idea if she looked away from the camera and if I looked towards it, you could still see the conversation happening, That being said, you would not see her face.
Let's talk a little bit about this microphone that you just described that would click on somebody's clothing. Does it have a wire that goes to some sort of little control box that is somehow then wirelessly connected to your camera?
That's correct.
Is it typical that control box to that microphone would stay with the person while that microphone is attached to them?
That's correct.
If a person
Ro-Ro.
walked away from the camera
curious
to a
what
different
you-
area or, proximity wise, would the camera still pick up on anything that microphone is picking up on?
That's correct.
Did that happen in this case?
Yes.
Letecia's a dum-dum. If you aren't familiar, Letecia's a dum-dum. And she walks away thinking that the audio is being picked up from the camera when he clips on a fucking mic to her shirt. And you hear her talking to Harley, and she's forgetting that it's picking up the audio.
Was it odd to you as a reporter that had done thousands of interviews that Letecia was asking you to do this interview but not have her face facing the camera?
Not entirely so. It did make it an unusual situation, but there are some instances where people ask to not have their face shown. We'll sometimes shoot somebody's hands as video when we're talking to them. And considering the nature of this interview where she was hesitant to do it in the first place, I was more willing to accept the terms of that agreement.
Did the fact that you were able to do this interview, was that a good get for you as this news cycle was developing?
Yes.
My newsroom was ecstatic, yes.
Did you play along with what the defendant was telling you during this interview to keep her talking?
As a part of that training you mentioned at the University of Missouri, it is told to us that in order to have a conversation with someone, you cannot agree with what they're saying, but you do need to keep them continuing what they're saying. That is why, as you're nodding right now, I would nod along with whatever was being said. That doesn't necessarily mean I was agreeing to anything. It was meaning that I needed her to keep saying things.
Okay.
Look,
And you
Warner
did that
loved
in this
that.
particular case as well.
That's correct.
All right.
This is why I love Warner. The link is at the top, Ashley. And usually there's an option to gift through the super chat box, depending on what device you're using. But this is why I love Warner. Yes, but no, he didn't go soft on T-Bag on the press. What are you talking about? But look at the way he giggles at all of the jokes. And listen, his job is really hard. It's really hard. And think about, like, on a day-to-day basis, he is listening to such horrific things. Yet I just admire that he's able to laugh at the and it's polite. It helps de-escalate and de-stress the room, in my opinion. But he giggles. I love it.
Okay. And you did that in this particular case as well?
That's correct.
All right. Was there a portion of this interview where she asked you actually to redo a portion of it?
That's correct.
Again?
Tell the jury about that circumstance.
Towards the end of our interview, after we had had a couple different conversations, I was also, mind you, the cameraman in this instance too. So I'd have to stop and walk behind the camera, hit stop, hit start if we needed to redo things. I think we cut it maybe 2 or 3 times, took breaks, came back on. At the very end, this was the thing that was the most interesting to me and why I remember it so much is that I asked, is there anything that you would want to say to Gannon? In this interview, she had told me that she believed he was coming home. She said yes, gave her statement, and I said, okay, we got it. And then she said, what if we did that one more time? And I said, sure, whatever you want. So I went back, turned the camera back on, but this time she was crying when she was not crying the first time, and her demeanor completely changed. It went basically from, I can't wait till you're home. Everyone's going to see that I'm not lying. They owe me an apology, to I will not mimic someone crying, but she was very upset in the second part.
So she did it a first time. This is why we needed him to testify, Scott. She did it a first time. And then she's like, you know what? Can we redo that? Yes, ATS. She needed a sec. And then in the second take, I just want you to come home, and then you all owe me a sincere apology. How? Like, that's insane.
who, I will not mimic someone crying, but she was very upset in the second part, which took a second to happen.
Based on the things that you were hearing coming from the defendant, Letecia Stauch in this case, during that interview, did it seem that she was more focused on how she was being perceived publicly as opposed to helping find Gannon?
Absolutely. I talked to neighbors who were more concerned for Gannon.
Okay. And Your Honor, may I approach with People's Exhibit 334?
You may.
You look big.
I think we get to end the day with a video. It's going to be a good one. Great reporter.
Come on, Tisha.
I'm holding a disc, People's Exhibit 334. Do you recognize this disc?
I do.
Why do you recognize it?
I just watched it in the other room.
So did you initial put your signature on it and today's date?
That's correct.
The contents of this disc, is it a basically a file of that interview?
That's correct.
Is it a fair and accurate representation of your interview?
Yes.
I move for admission of Exhibit 334.
No objection.
Come on,
Exhibit
Tisha.
334 will be admitted. Go ahead.
Andy, I've got a communications degree, electronic media, so very similar to a journalism degree. Not far from it. The course of study is very
And permission to publish, Your Honor.
Care Bears.
It's like majoring in
17 months
unemployment.
just showing some love. Thank you.
We're going to see if we can pull up a close-up of this video for you.
You are?
I am Letecia Stauch, which is Gannon's stepmother.
You've been a part of the investigation since the very first time. You were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these false accusations, like the things that have been said that I've disappeared from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's lots of reasons behind that.
Reasons like death threats, right?
Right. Death threats are one of them. My family's getting lots of death threats. We counted over 20 some death threats already. Two, my husband's ex-wife is living in our home. And of course, I'm not coming home to do these things and to help with the family when I was kind of like told I couldn't. And then many other things that happened with the El Paso County Police Department, you know, and in doing the investigation, I was told I wasn't complying. And could I elaborate on that?
Please do.
Yes. So I asked for an attorney during the interview, and I was denied that by them. I was held because they were blocking the door, and I was told I couldn't leave, and that if I would have touched them, they would have probably, you know, said I still wasn't complying or said I was, you know, trying to run away or something. But during the interview, I asked several times, could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? Could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? I was denied. I was told I couldn't get nothing to drink. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I mean, it was continuously that my constitutional rights were violated.
Listen, I didn't want to pause, but let me just remind you, there was only ever one point in that entire Bethel interview where Letecia mentioned a lawyer, and this is how it went. She spoke for hours. Everything was fine. She was given a fucking Hot Pocket, 2, a Coke, a water. She was offered additional food. She was told she is free to leave at any time. And it was only after Letecia changed the story and said that there was someone who came in, raped her, and took Gannon that things changed. And they got a warrant for her phone. And they took her phone. And then she didn't like that. And she mentioned, well, can I make a call? I mean, can I call my, you know, I'd like to call an attorney, you know, like, because you guys aren't allowed to do this. Everything halted at that moment because she mentioned an attorney. And then when they said, all right, you know, we're not doing any more questions. We're not. And Letecia's like, no. I didn't mean, I was just saying, you know, like, I'm not actually going to call an attorney. You know, I just meant, you know, like, because with the phone and they refused to talk to her anymore at that point. Like, but she was there and they were waiting on a warrant because now there was potential evidence on her body. And she was the only time that she was never refused to go to the bathroom. But they said, after Letecia said, oh no, I don't want to go to the hospital. I want to go home and shower first. Well, you're showering off and washing off potential DNA now. And they couldn't let her do that. So she was allowed to go to the bathroom, but she was told, do not wipe and do not try to pull any funny business, because then they were able to get her to the hospital after she acted like she was having a fucking heart attack and get the warrant to go through for non-intrusive, non-invasive collection of evidence. But she was offered, she had food, she was offered food, she had drinks, she was never denied going to the bathroom, but they weren't going to let her wash potential evidence off of her. And she only mentioned that lawyer one time after they took her phone, and then she backtracked and said, no, I don't mind answering questions. I didn't mean the lawyer. I didn't mean that we had to stop, talking. And she, like, the way that she just claimed that went down is opposite of how it went down. And that's why they record it.
If I would have touched them, they would have probably, said I still wasn't complying, or said I was, trying to run away or something. But during the interview, I asked several times, could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? Could I stop the interview? Could I get a...
Oh, crap. I forgot. Crap. I know I wanted to say hi, Tiny's Lamb, but now I remember there's a specific way to say your name, and I don't remember what it was. So I'm just going to say hi, Tiny's Lamb. Hi, Tiny's Lamb. You guys and your pronunciation, man.
Probably, said I still wasn't complying, or said I was, trying to run away or something. But during the interview, I asked several times, could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? Could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? I was denied. I was told I couldn't get nothing to drink. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I mean, it was continuously that my constitutional rights were violated.
And that's why you say that they said then you weren't cooperating with the investigation.
That's why they said I wasn't cooperating at that time. Correct.
No.
And why did you ask for an attorney at the time?
Well, I asked for an attorney at the time because there was one individual, there was two really good detectives. And so I'm not, going to talk bad about detectives, but the tactics they started to get when I would answer questions, they try to, they're detectives. They're supposed to twist. The one main goal is to find Gannon. But during that time, some of those things made me feel uncomfortable the way they were saying things. So I immediately stopped and felt like an attorney would help me with some of the vocabulary and things like that I needed help with, and understanding some of the things that they were asking.
I'm going to shift gears to what has become a huge online presence of people obviously trying to do the right thing, help find Gannon. But at the same time, sometimes it just feels like rumor mongering. Have you seen any of those comments yourself?
We have. And see, that's one of the main things we haven't been around in the public eye, because I didn't want to expose my family to it if all these things were going on. There was comments about Gannon getting pushed off the hike, and there was comments about this, and that's just not true. I took care of Gannon for the last 2 years in our home because his mother didn't want to do it. And I would never, ever hurt this child. And I know there's some questions out there about, okay, so tell me what happens. That's up to the investigations when they end up letting you guys know. But I've cooperated with them, even to the point that we were held with a gun. And my daughter, a 17-year-old who serves our country in the United States Air Force, who has never committed a crime or done anything wrong in her life, was put in handcuffs over the keys that was in her purse so they could take her car.
And they weren't in there.
They weren't even in her car. I mean, in her purse. And they were in my pocket.
You originally didn't even know it was a law enforcement officer?
I didn't know it was a law enforcement officer because when he came out, I guess he was putting his jacket on, and it wasn't necessarily his fault. He was adjusting and happened to catch me. But I saw the gun and I panicked originally and kind of thought, oh gosh, who's this guy? And then once I realized it was the sheriff's office, I was totally okay, but they still had a gun and told me they were going to shoot me. But I was really concerned about my daughter, asking why she was being detained in handcuffs and things like.
Whoa, really? Because we've already heard 2 witnesses testify, and we've gone through the case files. You ditched your minor child, and you booked it, and you literally said, don't tell him anything, and you yeeted the keys across the parking lot, and as the witness, as the detective said, you full-ass sprinted. Full-ass sprinted, which I would pay to see that. I wish they had that body cam footage. And it wasn't until they drew that gun that your ass halted. So now I want to hear about how concerned you were with your child.
once I realized it was the sheriff's office, I was totally okay, but they still had a gun and told me they were going to shoot me. But I was really concerned about my daughter, asking why she was being detained in handcuffs and things like that, when that shouldn't even happen for a child. That shouldn't happen for someone who was standing inside of a store shopping, because we couldn't have any clothes because all of our clothes were here. If we came here and got clothes, you know, we would be harassed. So she went to purchase some underwear and things like that and was put in the handcuffs in the store, you know, and then brought out with men with guns. And that's just not okay. You know, they could have approached me and said, "Hi, I'm with El Paso County. Can I please get this?" instead of the way that it happened.
I'm just going to check your shot. Doing great. Want to make sure that we're still good on recording, still can hear you okay. Okay, yeah, sounds like we're good. Every once in a while, my mic will fade out, and I want to make sure that's not going to happen here.
He's reframing the shot.
Okay. I should try and clarify here, not necessarily crime rates, but the way that people are reacting online to rumors about you with the search.
Oh, yes. Wow. The rumors have gotten so bad. I pretty much have been told at least 10 different ways that these people have these conspiracy theories. I guess they watch a lot of law shows and maybe they have all these theories on how Gannon is dead. And that's what they're saying. So I'm like, why are you saying Gannon is dead? He is not dead. We are going to find Gannon. And that's the main goal that we all have. My family has. Just because you haven't seen us, we have that same goal. We've been out searching. My aunt has been out searching. My family has been out searching. We all have been doing that together so that we could protect each other.
How does it feel when not only you have a lost child who you are in care of, but then people blaming you for that child and pain?
You know, I'm just ready for Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. But second, I am going to be so ecstatic when I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology for all these theories that have came out online, for all the things they said that I have done or people have done. And I just want everyone to know that we're going to find Gannon. And I love him so much. I've helped taking care of him for so long.
Can you talk to me a little bit about him? I don't know him.
Gannon is so kind and he loves to play video games. That's one of his favorite things. He loves Sonic and Mario. And, you know, he's always helpful. And he was always so helpful with the dogs around the house. And we have 2 little cute dogs.
Please pay attention to past tense. I know, like, you get a little bit of shocked at what she's saying because it's like, what the fuck? But pay attention to the past tense. Hey, Lori.
That's one of his favorite things. He loves Sonic and Mario. And, you know, he's always helpful. And he was always so helpful with the dogs around the house. And we have 2 little cute dogs. And he was always like a person I could say, Gannon, can you go do this? And he would do it right away. You know, sometimes with kids, we have to remind them and things like that. And that's okay. But he was so sweet and able to help anyone. He could notice when you're sick and say, are you okay? And such a kind heart.
I know you just said that you can't say anything about the investigation, so you can just say so again if you can't answer this. But is there anything we can hear about the hike? Was there a hike? That just seems like rumors right now.
You know what? Could we bring my daughter up here? Because she can go and say that, you know, she came home from work after the hike and she can verify that Gannon was at our home.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine with me. If she doesn't want to, that's okay, but you're allowed to say after.
Hey, Sprinkle Dog Nut.
Not okay so far?
Yes. I need Harley.
Okay, she's still mic'd up. I'm not sure.
I need Harley because they want you to verify was Gannon at home after the hike. Because you didn't go to the hike, but you came home from work.
That's actually, and this is where Tisha downfalls a lot. That's not at all what he asked. He asked, was there a hike? You know what? Let me bring my fucking spawn, my blood of my blood over here. And let me, she was not there at the hike, so I can't even answer you. But let me have her verify that he was at home. Nobody said he wasn't at home, Miss Ma'am.
Okay, she's still mic'd up. I'm not sure.
I need Harley because they want you to verify was Gannon at home after the hike. Because you didn't go to the hike, but you came home from work.
Want me to just say yes?
No, just answer the question. Yes, you came home from work and you can verify Gannon was at home. Yeah. I told her she didn't have to be too in depth because she is still, you know, a child, but I want to make sure that someone knows that there's another person to verify that Gannon.
Sure.
Does she need to hold this?
No.
Yes, so I came home later that evening. I was at work and I can verify that he was there that night.
So there was a hike that you guys went on, but then you guys came home.
Yes.
Where'd you guys go hiking?
Garden of the Gods.
Oh, yes. Okay. I guess when
And then we ate Burger King afterwards. So, you know.
there you go.
Yeah.
And then it just was, I'm gonna go to play at a friend's house. And then it was just I'm off to go to play at a friend's house.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to like comment on that anymore. And for that reason is because some things have been.
Notice she had Harley leave because Harley doesn't know a day before this, Mama changed her story. That hadn't gone out publicly. But the day before this was the Bethel interview. And Mama is saying Eduardo came in after giving him the code and raped Mama and took Gannon. So hurry up, Harley, because I can't say, yeah, I miss it, because I'll be lying now that I already gave my statement.
At a friend's house. And then it was just I'm off to go to play at a friend's house.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to like comment on that anymore. And for that reason is because some things have been turned and twisted. And, you know, that was one of those stories you were talking about where people say things. We had to hear things like who would let their child go out at dark and things like that. And that's just why I don't want to answer that. If I had to give, I'm not going to say that part.
That's okay.
Never mind. I could take that out.
I understand that it gets tricky with people stuff.
Hey,
do you feel like I asked you what I need to? Do you feel like this is going to help kind of turn the tide of what feels like a witch hunt, in my opinion?
I hope. Am I on camera now?
You are.
Okay. I think that a lot of people can see that I'm not missing and see that I am being cooperative. But to me, it's okay that they think those things because the way someone thinks about me, I don't have a problem with that. My main thing is I would never want someone to think that I would hurt Gannon or any of the children in our home because that's just not the case. I've spent my whole entire life working so hard in education. There was even things online that was talking about my education license and I shouldn't even be a teacher. And they just didn't know that. Like we moved on a military move and I didn't finish out my contract. So I gave up my license in that state. It had nothing to do with any criminal activity, you know, or any of those things. And it just got blown out of proportion on my professional status, you know. And
do you feel like these are just internet detectives who think they know what they're doing?
It definitely is. And, you know, here's the thing that kind of saddens me. It's like, if you're going to talk about someone like that and have a witch hunt out for them, why would you even care about doing those things? Because this is a child. You're telling me that you're just as mean, you're just as hateful to talk about someone else like that. That's how I feel. Like we should all come together and wait until the end and see what happens because Gannon's going to come home.
Any message for Gannon?
The message for Gannon I have is, Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened. And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone who has made all those things, especially from my husband. We just wanted to add a message to Gannon from my family.
Oh, no. No, she did not.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
So the first take to the fucking second take.
And wait until the end and see what happens because Gannon's going to come home.
Any message for Gannon?
The message for Gannon I have is, Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened. And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone who has made all those things, especially from my husband. We just wanted to add a message to Gannon from my family, is that we love you and miss you, and we hope that you come home soon. And Gannon, I can't wait till you can come home and let everyone know that you're okay. We love you.
Could you imagine asking the reporter, you know what, actually scratch that. Can we do it again? Okay. And I just want to say, how doesn't her and I want to be careful because again, she is not insane, but holy fuck, how does her brain not realize how bad this is for her? Like I've never seen anything like it ever.
Wow.
Mr. Wilson,
Yeah,
it's probably fairly obvious, but the person that you were interviewing there, is she here in the courtroom?
She is.
Will you please point around and describe what she's wearing for the jury?
Pink shirt.
And you're pointing over to the right hand.
He did the full ass finger and it even hesitated. It even paused for a second. And then that was such an intense point. Look at that point again. Look at that point again.
Point around and describe what she's wearing for the jury.
Oh yeah.
Pink shirt. And you're pointing over to the right.
Did you? Fuck yeah. I would lift her head up and force her to look. And he's like, booyah.
Fairly obvious, but the person that you were interviewing there, is she here in the courtroom?
She is.
Will you please point around and describe what she's wearing for the jury?
Pink shirt.
And you're pointing over to the right-hand side of the courtroom?
That's correct.
Female at defense table?
That's correct.
All right, ask that the record reflect to identify the defendant.
The record will so reflect.
Mr. Wilson, did the defendant appear to be of sound mind to you while you were with her?
Yeah.
No, he can give his opinion regarding what he thought about her mental state at the time.
Yes.
Did she seem to be able to answer questions to you logically and give coherent answers?
Yes.
You mentioned that, to your memory, that she was driving the passenger vehicle.
Yes.
Did she seem to be following the rules of the road?
Yes.
Could she stop when she was supposed to stop?
Yes.
Was she driving on the right side of the road as opposed to the left?
That's correct.
During that interview, do you remember, is there a point in time where she's referring to Gannon in the present sense and then she changes it to the past tense?
God.
Yes.
Interesting.
Do you remember when that was?
We just watched it. But
Okay.
No, sorry.
If we can queue up 5 minutes and 50 seconds, please. We're going to just replay that portion, Judge, because it happens fairly quickly.
She goes from present tense to past tense. That's what they're highlighting.
Approach me. Hi, I'm Widow out of the way.
She makes more sense.
My ball shut in. That's when we take.
For that child of shame.
You know, I'm just ready for Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. But second, I am
covering her ears again.
Tracking, so it's paused right now at 5 minutes and 33 seconds.
She covers her ears. Notice she covers her ears every time her own voice is being played. All throughout those pre-text calls, anytime it is her, she covers her ears. It's like she doesn't want to hear herself. But medical examiner, all of those photos, she never took her eyes off the TV.
And then we'll get to that 5 minutes and 50 seconds section. Go ahead and play it, please.
Going to be so ecstatic when I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology for all these theories that have came out online, for all the things they said that I have done or people have done. And I just want everyone to know that we're going to find Gannon. And I love him so much. I've helped taking care of him for so long.
Can you talk to me a little bit about him? I don't know him.
Gannon is so kind and he loves to play video games. That's one of his favorite things. He loves Sonic and Mario. And, you know, he's always helpful. And he was always so helpful with the dogs around the house. And we have 2 little cute dogs. And he was always like a person I could say, Gannon, can you go do?
Was that significant to you that it changed in mid-statement from present sense to past tense? I'm asking his impression of it.
Yeah. No, I'm going to sustain the objection. I think the jury can draw their own conclusions about it. I'm not sure that his opinion about it adds any extra relevance.
Okay.
To the
No
objection
flavor.
sustained.
Okay.
What about when this interview ended? Did she get back into the driver's side, driver's seat of that passenger vehicle and drive away?
Yes.
She again appeared to be driving and following the rules of the road.
That's correct.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Cookie Mom.
Cross-examination.
One of the reasons. Oh, I'm sorry.
That she expressed she didn't want her face to be seen and she had concerns for her safety.
Whoa. Slow down, Talini. We didn't even hear the beginning part of your question because you started fucking asking when you were still in Letecia's fucking hair bush. Come on.
Okay, that's all I have.
Cross-examination.
One of the reasons. Oh, I'm sorry.
That she expressed she didn't want her face to be seen and she had concerns for her safety.
Correct.
No further question.
Oh, no further question, you fucking. Listen, I know they don't have much to work with. I know they don't have much to work with, but just seriously, at least Cook sat there and was like, so, what were you wearing that day? Were you readily identifiable as a multimedia reporter? And what do multimedia reporters typically wear in comparison? Like, at least Cook gave us something, okay? But you're oh my goodness. Leslie, thank you so much. Leslie just gifted 5 damn memberships. So supportive, so generous. Thank you so much. Welcome to all of our new members. Please make sure to show Leslie some appreciation if you just got that membership. We gotta ask at least one question, man. Dude. This is not a you can't handle the truth moment. That was weak as fuck.
Yes. She again appeared to be driving and following the rules of the road.
That's correct.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Cross-examination.
One of the reasons. Oh, I'm sorry.
That she expressed she didn't want her face to be seen and she had concerns for her safety.
Correct.
No further questions.
Redirect.
Question. Is she concerned for her safety now, sir? Because she's not allowing her face to be seen. Is that what we're going with? Clearly, Letecia has a history with this.
Okay.
Do any of the jurors have any questions for Mr. Wilson? Okay, just write it down.
Ooh, we got a question from the jury. Hey,
Looks like just the one. And counsel
We've got
approach, please.
one jury question coming in. Hang on just 1 second. I'm going to share something with you. Hold on.
Divine intervention, Lori. Cook, be careful. You'll get a whiff of that and pass out. I know, Teresa. I know. Okay, let me jump.
Let's see.
Look at Cook.
Switch right here. Sorry.
Bend to the left. Bend to the right.
This on the side. Looks like they're okay.
Mr. Wilson, did the defendant stop crying immediately following the interview? Did her demeanor change following the interview?
Yes.
Let me ask those separately so that it's clear which one is you're answering to. Did she stop crying immediately following the interview?
Quicker than a normal person would stop crying.
And did her demeanor change following the interview?
Yes.
All right. I will allow reasonable follow-up as to those questions only. Prosecution?
No.
Defense?
Was the camera shut off immediately after the interview, or was there film that was not shown that would have shown her demeanor afterwards?
The relevant pieces of information, the camera was still rolling post that interview. That being said, the microphone was removed from Letecia Stauch, and also I left the scene.
So there would have been no video to confirm what you're saying about when she stopped crying.
It would have been outside of the view of the camera. I'm not sure if she had the microphone on at the time.
Okay, and that wasn't played for the jury.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Oh, Leslie.
Thank you, sir. You may step down.
Okay.
All right. So Spencer was the last witness of day 5. So we got another hour before Bendy's live starts. So we're gonna go on to day 6. We will know if this is the flip of the bird day, depending on her outfit. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Katie. Anybody I missed? Hello. So we're gonna move on to day 6. We're gonna see if she has maroon on, because then we know she's gonna get her swivel chair taken away very soon. But already we see such a change, a drastic change in her behavior. She's starting to laugh more. She's getting cocky. She's making those facial expressions. All right. Oh, no. It's her brother. It's Dakota. All right. no more laughs. This is gonna get heartbreaking. But this is, I remember watching this live. It was really hard. This is her brother Dakota getting up on the stand to testify. And it's really, really heartbreaking. And he even had to, like, the judge has to stop, let the jury back out before he even gets to testify, and then come back in because his emotion, you know, oh, you'll see. So this is going to be the start of day 6.
In jail.
Court will recall 20 CR 1358 People versus Letecia Stauch. Record should reflect the jury has returned to the courtroom. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Again, has any of the prosecution?
Dakota Lowry is kicking it off today.
All right, Mr. Lowry, if you would step forward and raise your right hand, please, sir. A little farther forward.
Please also pay attention to Letecia's, hi, Michelle. Please pay attention to Letecia's demeanor, okay? It's one thing, it's not like I could even rationalize her not having sympathy for her stepchildren, Al, but this is her blood, okay? And I pay attention to her demeanor, and is she going to crack? Well, you'll see.
Let's go right in the middle of the court.
All right. You swear affirm the testimony about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Go ahead and have a seat in the witness stand. Please watch your step as you step into the stand.
Good morning. Could you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your first and last name?
Dakota Lowry, DAKOTA LOWRY.
Oh.
And where do you live, Dakota?
Wilmington, North Carolina.
Did you just fly in yesterday?
Yes, sir.
And
he's nervous.
What is your relationship with Letecia Stauch?
That's my sister.
Oh my God.
Pretty tough for you being here right now?
Yes, sir.
Hang in there, all right?
Oh.
Why, teacher?
Oh.
Mr. Lowry, do you need a moment?
Take a break for a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have you step back in that back of the jury room for a few minutes. All up for the jury, please.
Now that is pain. And this is, you know, I know some people don't like when I say Letecia has countless victims. I don't mean it in a way whatsoever that minimizes Gannon. Obviously, he is the #1 victim, but she has affected so many, and she has so many victims, just victims of different things, different circumstances. But that right there, and to see her not crack, to see her not have any, for it not to register to her, for her face to be hollow like that, it's concerning.
We're going to have you step back in that back of the jury room for a few minutes. All up for the jury, please.
Oh my. I recognize this is incredibly painful and hard for him.
Thank you. You may all be seated. Record should reflect the jury has left the courtroom.
The judge is going to.
Mr. Lowry, you going to be okay? Need a few minutes?
Yes, I just want to get it over.
Okay. Here's the way that the process works. Is that I understand that you want to get it done. I understand that. But we have to have the jury in here, and you're going to be subject to questioning by the prosecution and then by your sister's attorneys. Do you understand all that? Okay. Just do the best that you can. Just take a breath. Do you need some water or anything like that?
Yeah.
There's some water right there if you want some, or you can pour it into that cup there. So everybody's a little nervous when they're on a witness stand. Just take a deep breath.
This judge is doing what he can, but the judge can't allow that to continue.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It happens. It's an emotional case. I get that. But you just have to do the best that you can to get through the testimony, okay?
And with the court's permission, can I just ask some follow-up questions? Mr. Lowry, I know this is very difficult for you, okay? But I really want you to focus on me, and I know your wife's here as well. And I'm just going to ask you some questions, and we'll get through this, okay? But it's important that you got to kind of keep your cool. Okay. All right. Can you do that?
I'm trying my best. I can't make no promises, but I try my best.
And I appreciate that. I know it's difficult for you here, but we'll get through this, okay? And if you need a break, just let us know. If you feel something coming up where you want to have an outburst, do the best you can and let us know. And perhaps the court, we can take another break, okay? Is that fair?
Okay. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and bring the jury back in.
Okay. It's possible that we're going to have the camera kept off for the duration of this witness. The court's been very respectful in a couple other situations. So we might not have a witness camera.
Much younger, amaze.
Man.
We have the other camera.
The judge just asked if they had the camera's off.
All rise for the jury, please.
The judge was the only one who wasn't standing. Yeah, there was no break there. No break when, no expression change, anything.
That's okay, Homer. I understand. Looking all square.
All right, thank you. You may all be seated. Record should reflect the jury has returned to the courtroom. Mr. Young?
Thank you, Mr. Lowry, this is your first time being in the courtroom ever. Is that right?
Christina?
Yes, sir.
And you're probably extremely nervous.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to get through this, okay? I'm just going to ask you some questions, and we're going to have a
It
conversation.
was
Is that
Leslie
all right with you?
Brandy. Congrats.
Did you let the jury know about your other family members, other brothers and sisters, your parents, that kind of thing?
I got another sister. Her name's Julie. I got a sister named Amy. My mom, Deborah. That's pretty much.
And then it
got my nieces, all my nieces.
What's your niece's name? Do you remember?
Got Harley, Jazz, Kanae, Cash, Maya, Jada.
Yes. Don't forget about
Is
that.
Deborah your mother?
That's my mom, yeah.
And for the most part, did your family grow up in North Carolina, where you're from, Lumberton, and
yes, sir.
Still living out there?
Yes, sir.
And you mentioned that Letecia Stauch is your sister.
Yes, sir.
And you see her in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir.
Could you point her out and describe what she's wearing?
A green sweater.
And when was the last time you saw her?
When we came down here in 2020.
So January 2020?
Yes, sir.
And so I want to talk about that a little bit. When you said you came out here, who came out here?
Me, my mom, and my Aunt Brenda.
And what's Brenda's last name?
Brenda.
Akron.
What's your mom's last name?
Locklear.
Why'd you come out here?
We come out here to help support Tisha because we felt like she was being wrongly accused for something that we believe she would never do.
And so I'm sorry, go ahead.
We also wanted to come out here and help look for him. We did.
Oh. Oh, man.
Go ahead and take a deep breath, all right? You let me know when you're ready.
Lowry.
I'm ready.
So you wanted to come out and help. You refer to her as Tisha.
Mm-hmm.
And you also wanted to look for Gannon.
Yes, sir.
So do you remember when you came out?
January 31st, I think.
Half
30th. It was late January. It was about to be February because my mom's birthday was that weekend or something, that next week.
And why particularly did you come out?
Because I knew my mom was going to come out here.
You wanted to support your mom?
Yes, sir.
Now, was it January 30th of 2020 when you all flew out here?
I believe so.
Where did you fly to? Do you remember?
Denver.
You got to Denver. What did you do?
Look at her whispering.
Went looking for her and Harley.
Rent a car?
Yeah, we rented a car from the airport.
Did your aunt Brenda Awkward rent the car?
Yes, sir.
And did she pay for you all to come out here?
Yes, sir.
And
Mr. Lowry, you're kind of soft-spoken at times. Could you put the microphone a little bit closer to you so the jurors can hear you a little better? Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
So when you get to Denver, your aunt rents a car. What was the game plan? What were you going to do?
To get Tisha and Harley, at least two around us.
And did they know you all were coming out?
Yeah.
And so do you recall renting a Nissan Altima?
I think so.
Down to Colorado Springs, I assume?
Yeah.
Who was driving? Do you remember? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Aunt Brenda.
And so what happens when you get to Colorado Springs? Where do you go?
Like a shopping center. Because that's where we found them at.
Were you guys talking to them on your way down?
Yeah, when we was looking for them.
And so would this be a shopping center kind of on the north side of town next to a Marshall's department store?
Yeah, there was a Marshall's there.
And did they tell you why they were, let me ask you this, did the defendant, Tisha, tell you why they were at the Marshall store?
She didn't tell us why, not that I can remember.
Did she tell you whether or not she had an interaction with some police officers?
Yes, sir.
Colby.
And you have to kind of wait till I finish asking the question because she's typing everything down we say, okay? So what did she tell you happened prior to you getting there?
That the laws had thrown her down and detained her.
Say anything about Harley?
Yes, Harley. They said also Harley.
They did not throw
Did it upset
either of
you?
them down.
Yes, it did.
So where did you go after you went to this Marshall's parking lot area to pick them up?
We ain't got a hotel.
And do you remember the name of the hotel?
No.
Does the extended suites sound familiar?
Yeah, extended suites.
So what happened when you got to the extended suites?
That was when they was discussing wanting to get their stuff back, like get their belongings.
And who was discussing that?
Tisha.
Once you picked up the defendant and her daughter Harley, who was kind of calling the shots as to what you were going to do and where you're going to go and things like that?
I don't really know.
Well, I'm
Yeah, I'm the type of person that likes to just stand in the corner and wait until they just tell me what they want to do.
You're just there to help.
I'm just there.
So how many rooms did you end up getting at the extended suites?
I can't remember.
Did you spend the night there that night?
Yeah.
Do you remember who was in your room?
I know my mom was. I believe Aunt Brenda was with us. I can't remember if we had just one room or two rooms.
Okay. Well, was Harley and your sister, the defendant, in the room with you?
We was around each other most of the time. Like all of us was together most of the time.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier that the defendant was talking about wanting to get her stuff back. What did you do the next morning to do that?
We rented a van.
And who rented the van?
Aunt Brenda.
So Brenda Awkward rents, what kind of van did she rent?
Like a cargo van, I guess you would say.
And so did all of you go to rent the van?
I don't know if all of us went or not. I believe we did.
So it's you, your mother, Deborah, Brenda Awkward, Harley, and the defendant, Tisha. Where do you go?
I know at one point she tried to go to the police station and get her pocketbook and stuff like that.
Tell the jury about that. Where exactly did she go? And you probably don't know Colorado Springs very well. Right? So did she tell you she's going to the police department? And did you actually go to the police department?
Yeah, we went to the police department.
And did she go in to try to get her belongings back that was taken?
Yeah, she did.
You know whether or not she got those items?
I can't remember.
So where do you go from the police department?
I think that's when we went to their house to get their clothes and stuff.
So this would have been January 31st now, 2020?
I believe so.
The next morning?
That Friday.
People have to remember, like aside from the obvious of what is making him so intense and emotional, imagine you seeing your sibling struggling with a suitcase and you literally reach your hand out to it to go take it from them. How, did his hand graze the suitcase? He was that close. Here, let me help you. No, I got it. Well, Jesus, what's in it? You're struggling. It's my softball equipment. To only realize after Gannon's body was in it. And that would be traumatizing, as if the whole situation itself isn't traumatizing. But to know that your hand reached out for it and it was that close. Again, there's so many instances in this case where it was right there and she wasn't caught.
Friday.
So what happens when you get to her house?
We just started loading up the clothes and stuff that's coming out of the house.
Were there police officers there?
Yes, sir.
What were the police officers doing?
They was checking everything we brought out.
How were they checking it?
Like looking in the bags and I guess just making sure there wasn't nothing that wasn't supposed to be there.
And how did you feel about being at the residence that morning?
Just aggravated.
And why were you aggravated?
Because I felt like we was getting looked at as criminals.
Oh.
Is that because they were looking at your sister as a criminal?
No, they was looking at our whole family. It wasn't just her.
And so what kind of things did you guys get out of the house? Do you remember?
Suitcases and clothes, that's all I can remember.
Was it all the Harley's clothes and all of your sister's clothes?
Yes, sir.
What was the game plan? I mean, where were you going to put those clothes?
They got their dogs too.
What was the plan on where you were going to go with all the clothes and things? You know?
But I know when she got it, she was ready to leave. She was ready to leave.
And did she tell you where she was ready to leave to?
I thought it was South Carolina.
And is that where she moved out to Colorado from, is South Carolina?
I don't think that's where she moved out to Colorado from.
Well, did she live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for a while?
Yes, sir.
Is that where she was planning on going back to?
That's what I thought.
Is that what she told you?
That's what I can remember.
So how long did it take to load up all her and Harley's things into this cargo van?
I can't remember. Over an hour, I guess.
So what happens after you get the van loaded?
We leave and go back to the room, I believe.
Do you remember whether or not your sister had an interview with a news reporter?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she did.
Tell the jury about that. How'd that come about?
I don't know how that happened. I just know she just had an interview with him.
And did she tell you why? I mean, was anybody talking to her about doing this? Or?
I wasn't. I mean, I wasn't.
Whose idea was it to have a interview with a news reporter?
I don't know.
Foundation. Sustained. Jury will disregard the answer.
So when you went to the house, I'm assuming you went in the cargo van. Did you also take the Nissan Altima that was?
Yeah, the Nissan was with us.
Who was driving which vehicle?
I think I was driving the van, and I think Brenda was on the Nissan.
And what vehicle was your sister the defendant in?
Say that again.
What vehicle was your sister in, the defendant? Do you remember?
No. I don't remember.
You know, we'll go on to that. So she does an interview with a news reporter. What do you do after that?
I just know we left. I don't remember where we went.
Did you eventually go back to the
We went
hotel?
back, yeah.
Did you remember about what time of day it was?
No.
Go back to the hotel room, and what do you do when you get back to the hotel room?
I know we mentioned something about wanting to go look for him. Because me and my mama, we wanted to go help look for him.
Tell us about that conversation.
Well, we wanted to go. She said she would get up with Albert, find out like when they're going to go out and look for him again or whatever. But we wanted to go, but at the same time, we kind of didn't because we didn't feel like we was getting treated right down here.
Is that because of what happened at the house earlier?
Yeah.
When you first got to Colorado, did you have conversations with your sister about, hey, we got to go out and look for Gannon. We got to go search for
him? We asked if they had any idea where he was at and stuff. I mean, that's about all we asked her.
And did you all ever go search for Gannon?
No, we didn't.
Did she ever say, hey, we got to go look for Gannon?
I mean, she told us that we could. That's all she told us. Like she said, we'd get up with Al and talk to him about it.
She never did. When you get back to the hotel room back on January 31st of 2020, did the defendant leave you all and go somewhere by herself?
Yes.
Overruled.
Did she tell you where she was going?
Go get some dog food for their dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what vehicle she took?
The Nissan.
The Altima?
Yes, sir.
And how long was she gone?
a while.
Hour?
I can't remember that. I just know she was gone longer than what I expected.
Was it 2 hours?
I don't know.
You remember sitting around the hotel room wondering where she's at and when she's getting back, that kind of thing?
Well, I did get on the phone with my wife, and I did tell my wife I feel like she's just been gone too long. But
Say that.
because she was gone for a long time. Like I can't remember how long she was gone, but I didn't expect her to take that long. But then a part of me was like, well, maybe she's just trying to take her a minute by herself. So
did anyone try to call her and say, hey, where are you? What's going on here?
no, not that I can remember.
Does she eventually come back?
Yeah.
Tell us about that. What happens when she gets back?
She has the body when he's back. When she's back, sorry.
I don't know. She came back and she was normal to me.
Normal.
Did she have any dog food or any items for the dogs?
She had some. She came back with some stuff, like she bought something, but I can't remember.
You get it at 7-Eleven, a gas station dog.
So earlier you had mentioned that she wanted to go back to South Carolina. What was the plan with the cargo van? Was she going to take the cargo van that Brenda Awkward rented to go back to South Carolina?
I don't know if she was going to take that one because Aunt Brenda wouldn't. I doubt Aunt Brenda was going to let her. I believe Aunt Brenda told her she had to get another van.
And so the next morning, we're now on February 1st, 2020. Did you help her get a new van?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury about that. What did you and your sister do to get a new van?
We went and drove to the.
Sorry, Scott, let me be clear. She had the rental that Letecia and Harley originally took all of their items from the house that the cops monitored and went through and put it in the rental van Aunt Brenda got. And they go back to the extended stay hotel. Letecia takes her car, goes and retrieves Gannon's body in the suitcase, comes back to the hotel. Aunt Brenda says you're going to have to get another van if you're going to use it to go across country. They get another moving van. Her family helped take everything out from the one van into the new one. During that time, Letecia grabs the suitcase with Gannon's body from her car and just kind of slides it in as if it was amongst all of the other suitcases they were packing up.
The budget place. We got another van. And we got the van. We unloaded all the stuff from out of the van into another van, into the other van.
So was that in the early morning hours?
I believe so.
Do you know about what time it was? Is that the first thing you did on February 1st?
I can't remember.
So when you get to the budget area, did you know that you were going to transfer things from one van to another when you got there?
Yeah.
So did you talk about that on the way to the budget rental van?
Yeah.
So talk to the jury about that. How did you guys go about doing that? Moving the items from one van to another?
We just went around to the side of the budget place, and we just backed the vans up and just swapped them out.
During that process, did you see the defendant with a rather large suitcase?
Yes, sir. I seen her with a lot of suitcases. Well, there was a lot of suitcases on there.
Was there one that kind of stood out to you?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury about that. Why did it stand out to you?
Yes.
Because it looked like she was struggling with it.
Did you offer to help her?
Listen to that. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk through that.
Stand out to you?
Because it looked like she was struggling with it.
Did you offer to help her?
Yep.
Oh.
What'd she say?
She didn't need help.
Oh my
Did you
God.
ask her what's in the suitcase?
Yep.
What'd she say?
She told me it was softball stuff.
Oh my God. And it had a broken
Why'd you ask her
handle.
what's in the suitcase?
I didn't feel right about it.
Oh my.
What about that suitcase didn't make you feel right?
I just felt like it was too heavy for her.
Oh my goodness.
You know, at this time, I'd like to publish People's Exhibit 48. It's already been admitted into evidence.
Go ahead.
Oh.
You recognize that suitcase we see on the TV screen?
Yep.
How do you recognize that suitcase?
It's an old suitcase. I remember that suitcase looked old and it's green.
Is that the suitcase you saw your sister putting into the budget van?
Yep.
Is that the suitcase you asked her about what's in it?
Yep.
Is that the suitcase you didn't feel right about?
Yep.
Is that the suitcase you told you softball equipment was in?
Yep.
Thank you. Take that down.
Oh.
So what happens after you get everything loaded into the budget van from your aunt's rental van?
At that point, we was ready to go home.
And did you drive Brenda Awkward's van back? And did Miss Stauch, your sister, drive the budget van?
I can't remember if we turned that van in there at that place or if we had to turn it in somewhere else. But I mean, I had to drive one of them because it was just me and her.
Look at
So
her
do
smirking.
you eventually turn back? It's an enterprise van, right? Is that where you rented the van that Brenda Awkward
I
rented?
think, yeah.
Did you take that van back?
Yeah, we took it back. I think we took it back later on that day.
And did you take the Nissan Altima back to Denver to catch your flight?
Yep.
What did the defendant tell you where she was going to go?
I don't think I can remember. I don't remember. The only thing I remember is her saying something about going back to Myrtle Beach.
And did she leave with Harley?
Yeah, Harley lived.
Did they leave from the hotel?
I can't remember where we split up at. I can't remember where we.
Or did your sister have to go back to the hotel to pick up Harley?
Yep. I think so.
And is that the last time you saw your sister until today?
Yep.
Yeah, Natasha.
How much older is your
That's
sister
God.
than you?
14 years.
You known her your whole life?
Yeah.
Can you give the jury an idea about the family background? How often would you see her as you're growing up, that kind of
She
thing?
come to like holidays, came around on holidays.
Where would you guys meet? North Carolina?
She'd either come down here or go down there, or we might have went to the beach and seen her.
Had you gone to Myrtle Beach on a few occasions to
Yeah,
hang out with Harley?
Yeah, me and her. I used to go down there and stay with them. We'd go to the water park, stuff like that on the weekends.
Can you let the jury know who your father is?
James Lowry.
And would that have been your sister's stepfather?
Yes, sir.
Is your dad still alive?
No, sir.
You know when he died?
7th birthday.
Oh my God. On his 7th birthday. Okay. This is a big piece to Letecia's defense. His biological father is Letecia's stepfather. There is a 14-year age difference. between Letecia and Dakota. She is 14 years older than Dakota. Remember when Leslie Hicks testified and Letecia sent that text on Monday morning, early morning Monday hours, saying, I can't come in. My stepdad was hit by a car and died. She's referring to his biological father. His biological father died on his 7th birthday, so not January 27th. But her defense is based off the abuse she claims his father put her through, and that when she killed Gannon, she dissociated and reverted back to a time where she was being abused by his father. So this is very critical to her defense. Hey, Allie.
2004.
You know the circumstances on how he died?
Got hit by a car.
Was he walking out in the street? And
I don't know if he was, I don't think he was on the street. I think he was on the side of the road.
do you know anything about the relationship between your father and your sister, Letecia Stauch?
No, sir.
Had your sister ever told you anything unusual between the relationship between your father and her?
No, sir.
If there had been something unusual, do you think you would have heard about it?
Objection, foundation. Overruled.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Why is that?
Because, I mean, pretty sure my mom would have said something.
Look at her
Your
shaking
mother,
her head.
Deborah, was she, well, what kind of mom was she?
She was a great mom to me.
Oh.
What do you say to me?
I'm just saying that.
Because he knows.
I had no problem.
He said it like that because he knows they're about to open the door and he could see her. She just shook her head no when he said, my mama would have told me about it. And she's like, no, already. And so what kind of mom? She was a great mom with me. I don't know what the fuck you're about to say, but she was a great mama with me. That's why he answered like that.
I'm just saying that.
Yes, Harlot.
I had no problem with my mama.
Was she very protective?
I think none of us should have a problem with my mama.
Was she very protective of the kids?
Yes, sir.
Including Miss Stauch?
Yes, sir.
On these occasions that you spent with your sister, did you have an opportunity to see her interact with other people and make decisions and go through everyday life?
Yeah.
Had you ever known her to have a serious mental illness?
I know of. I mean, the only thing we always say she probably had was that she was OCD. That was it.
Is that obsessive compulsive disorder?
Well, we used it as obsessive cleaning disorder. Like she had to keep stuff clean.
Ah, what happened to that?
Testify as to what he saw and observed, but I'm rejecting him testifying regarding. That's fair. Mr. Lowry, just talk about what you think as opposed to what all of you thought. So if you think it, it's fine. And just say, this is what I thought based on your contacts with her. Okay. Mr. Young?
Do you understand that? I mean, you good with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned that she had OCD. Why do you say that?
She liked to keep stuff in a particular spot. She liked to keep everything clean.
But when you're around her, would you make sure that things remain clean? Because she may want to, might say something to you.
Yep.
Was she the same with Harley?
She was the same with everybody like that, as far as I know.
It's just a control thing. That's all it is. Control.
Anything unusual about that?
No, that's normal to me.
You know other people like that?
No.
Had you ever known her to use different names or identify herself by a different name?
I can't remember.
Do you ever remember her referring to herself as a person named Harmony?
I do know she didn't like her name, but I don't remember her calling herself Harmony.
Did she tell you why she didn't like her name?
No.
Do you ever remember her calling herself Jasmine?
No.
And you said you had a niece named Jasmine or Jazz?
Jaslyn.
Sorry?
Jaslyn.
Always based on truths. No, bullshit.
Are you familiar whether or not your sister liked Disney movies?
I believe she did.
And are you familiar with the movie
Look at her
Aladdin?
shaking.
Yeah.
You familiar with a character named Jasmine in that movie?
Yes, sir.
Who's Jasmine in that movie?
The princess.
Look at her.
Do you ever remember her talking in a Spanish accent?
No.
No.
You ever seen her in a stressful situation?
Yep, Leslie.
No.
How about when you came to Colorado?
Yeah. Yeah.
During the entire time you're in Colorado with her, had you ever seen her speak in a Spanish accent?
No.
Have you ever heard her?
Sorry, Cups of Love. And I'm going to listen with an open mind again when the defense comes up and they go through the abuse. But fucking, do you know how likely it is to find someone who really hasn't experienced a level of abuse in their childhood? Like, for real. Like, and majority of people do not do the shit and I know you weren't saying it like that, but I'm like, just makes me angry because it's very rare to find someone who hasn't.
Refer to herself as Maria.
No.
Does Maria mean anything to you? That name?
No.
I think she's a socio-fucking-path, RL. That's my unprofessional opinion.
You have an opinion as to whether or not your sister
Hey, Aspen.
has the capacity to know right from wrong.
Thought she did.
Why do you say that?
She's too smart.
Was your sister a really good athlete as well?
Yes, sir.
Softball equipment, Lucia.
Softball, basketball, baseball.
Was she more of a leader than a follower?
Yeah, borderline
That's what I thought.
personality, Carl.
Never see her
She was diagnosed with
drive a
that
vehicle, for instance.
Yes, sir.
narcissistic
Did
trait.
she have the ability to stop at red lights, go when it turns green, that kind of thing?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever seen her, have you witnessed her obey the law?
Yes, sir.
And is that throughout your entire life?
Yep.
And is that for even when you were in Colorado?
I mean, we didn't ride with her. She didn't really drive around with us, but I mean, she acted funny the whole time we was down here, to be honest.
Tell us about that. Why was she acting funny?
Seemed like she was stressed out about everything that was going on, looking over her shoulders. But I figured that was because of the laws was constantly coming after her.
You alluded to this earlier, but she had just been in handcuffs prior to you guys picking her up, right?
Yep.
And do you think that may have caused her to be a little bit paranoid about the police following her and things like that? What about her capacity to do things intentionally, perform intentional acts? Let's talk about the budget rental van. Did you see anything unusual about her ability to rent another van to go to South Carolina?
No.
Does she have the capacity to intend to do things?
Yeah.
Does she have the capacity to make decisions and use judgment and reflection in making those decisions?
Yeah.
What did you think when you heard that she pled not guilty by reason of insanity?
I believe that was the only way she did it at that time.
Did what?
What we're here for.
A moment, Your Honor.
You may.
I watched this live when it happened. Obviously, I think it would be pretty fucking insane if I've done this much Letecia coverage and I did not watch the trial. This is the second time I'm watching it. It's been a while, and my reaction's gonna be the same, you know, and it still hits the same way that it hit watching it initially. But I'll tell you what, I feel like I know more stuff now than I did when I even watched it the first time. That's what's good about being able to go through it, is it hits differently because now you have more knowledge, you understand things. We've been doing a deep dive into this for months. But yeah, no, I've seen this, but it hits all over again, hearing it again. Yeah, Dynamite.
Those are my questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
All right, cross. Now, again, this witness, this is not a defense witness, but this is the one prosecution witness, aside from Harley, that they have to establish their defense. And they're about, this poor guy is already so traumatized, but they have to do their job, and they're about to go in because her entire defense goes off of this horrible abuse she sustained from her stepfather.
Let's look at Letecia's mannerisms here.
I know this is going to be, I know this is difficult. And we've met before, correct? Remember I came and I saw you and your mom and everything in North Carolina. I want to go back just to the attorney's last question. You indicated she must have been when she did this. And what you're meaning is the Letecia that you know, the only way she could have done something so horrible if she had some type of mental break.
When everything first happened, and we found out that the little boy was found in the body, we found out where he was found. It just, at that point, I knew she did it because when I seen that suitcase and asked her about it, she just acted funny to me. And yeah, I thought she might have snapped and went crazy.
Okay.
But now, no.
Oh.
No.
Okay. And talk Lumberton, you're from Lumberton, North Carolina, correct?
Yep.
And that's kind of a small, how big of Lumberton?
It's not that big.
A pretty small community?
Yeah.
And this case has got a national exposure.
Yep.
I know.
And it's got even more kind of exposure, you know, in Lumberton. Lumberton press is, you know, picked up and followed this case pretty closely.
Yep.
And over the 3 years since this has happened, this has caused a lot of shame to come upon you and your family.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It makes you feel like your own town, kind of like an outcast.
Yep.
Like everybody's looking and judging you.
Yep.
Like everybody's looking and judging your mom.
Yep.
And this is all your stepsister's fault.
No, she's not my stepsister.
She's
you have different fathers, correct?
I mean, I don't consider that a stepsister. That's
Tortellini. Do you not know do not minimize. They are blood. They are blood. Tortellini, come on. Stepsister and half sister, there's a difference. You are blood related.
half.
Okay. This is all your half sister's fault.
Yes.
And you're angry at her for it.
Yep.
when you were out in Colorado during this time, she was acting different than normal.
Yes, she was.
She was pacing up and down. She seemed highly paranoid.
Yep.
Your mother was concerned for her mental health.
Yep.
Did your mom, Brenda, and you all fly back together?
Yeah, me and my mom and Aunt Brenda.
Okay. You flew out of DIA?
Yeah.
Do you call her during that time in Colorado that you were with her being paranoid and believing there's a black BMW that was following her?
Yeah, she did do that.
Okay. Go back. You're actually named after your father? Middle name?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And my grandpa.
Okay. And Ms. Stauch was 16 when she moved out, correct?
I believe.
Okay. So she's 14 years older than you. That would mean you're only 2 years old when she moved out of the house.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So you never had any active memories of her with James or how James treated her?
No, sir.
His father.
And you said that she would come home from time to time, but she never came back to North Carolina, never came back to Lumberton to see you guys until after James died.
My dad, I can't remember.
Okay. You indicated, let's go. I mean,
I know, Mammy.
I'm going to get into this. And I know you might not like it, but your dad, James Lowry, did have a drinking problem.
Yes, he did, as far as I know.
You would get drunk and you'd beat the piss out of your mom.
Wow.
Yeah, as far as I know, yep.
Sometimes it'd be so bad that your mom would have to take all you kids to a hotel room till he sobered up.
Yep.
Look at Letecia.
Sometimes your mom would have to go to work and James be the one watching after you kids. Correct?
Yep.
One time, James gave you so much alcohol that you passed out. Well, they went up to
overruled.
One time, James gave you so much alcohol that you passed out.
Yep.
And you were under.
Friends with Landon
So
first husband.
you passed when you were 7. You would have had been what, 4, 5, or 6?
When you passed
You passed out. Remember how old you were?
I was like 3.
Okay. You indicated that, or I think you said before, that she would sometimes freak out if something was out of place.
Yep.
Stout. And also, do you recall that sometimes when Miss Stout would come visit you or see you, sometimes she would leave you knives so you'd be able to protect yourself?
Yep, she did do that.
Look at her.
Correct.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Guess what? All of that can be true at the same time that Letecia is guilty as fuck for no association to her fucking stepfather. Both can be true at the same time. Just because one is true doesn't mean, you know what? Leticia's defense has to be true also. No, because when we get to her defense, you're going to hear her own words, what she claimed happened, and you're going to know from that moment, no fucking way. No fucking way. Scott, that's why I said Dakota and Harley, they're not defense witnesses, but they are the only prosecution witnesses that are critical to her defense, that they are actually going to try to pull something out. Now, I make, I curse and I make, I get angry with Tortellini and Cook, but let me be clear. They're doing their jobs. And so they don't have it easy. I don't, I'm just kind of reacting, but Tortellini did that article. his family got death threats. Like, he got so much hate, and it's really more Cook. Cook was really, as you're going to see as it goes on, giggling with her, whispering. It gets weird. It gets weird. Tortellini doesn't do that, but they're doing their job. So now we got redirect.
Tell us a little bit more about your dad. Was he in the armed forces?
Yep.
What branch?
Air Force.
And did he go to war?
I believe he did.
And did that create problems for him?
Yep.
Honey, I forgot
Tell
that.
the jury about that. What changed with your dad?
Dude, I'm sorry. I have to pause. So not only did you guys remind me last night that 2 lawyers, 1 cup, they drank from the same cup, but you also just reminded me how Will Cook washed his face with hand sanitizer. How did I forget that? And we're not kidding. He goes squirt, squirt, and he goes like this with his hands, and then he wipes it all over his face, which I take as a good indicator of what it's like sitting near Letecia Stauch. You just get the EBGBs, and you can feel the filth jumping off of her and onto you. But yeah, she's so full. Elena, isn't it such a... Thank you for pointing that out, because anytime they are playing Leticia's own words, which you would think she would be confident about, right? She always did so much talking in those pretext calls, all these jail calls, right? You just wait. You just wait. I'm going to have a fucking massive lawsuit. I can't wait to get to fucking trial. Yet anytime they play her own words, which is what you would think she'd want, right? Her narrative. She fucking stuffs tissues in her ears. Her head is down. She folds like a lawn chair. Yet in these moments with the medical examiner, with those horrific photos, she is up and she is attentive, just like she is right now.
Dad, when he got back from war?
All I know is my mom always told me when he stepped off that plane.
Yes, Meg.
Yeah, sustained. You can talk about what you observed. You can't talk about what somebody else told you. Okay.
I mean, I can't really talk about him because I was 3 when they separated. I was 7 when he died.
That's all right.
Okay. That's okay. It's all right.
Now, earlier we talked about your mom being protective of the kids. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
If something was going on with your dad and the kids, what would your mom do?
She don't play about her kids. Something went on between. I don't know how she did Daddy, but I know if something went on between her and like her ex-boyfriend or whatever, and they wanted to come to us or say something to us, she didn't play about us. She protected us.
She protected you kids? Did she protect herself?
Yep.
Did you ever see her hit your dad?
I don't remember hitting on. I don't remember. I can't remember much of my daddy because I was so young. But I know her boyfriend after my daddy, Greg, he would hit on her, and she would fight him back.
Thank you, Alvin. The fuck fun.
Did you want to be here today to testify?
Nope.
Aw.
Did you get subpoenaed, and that's why you came out here?
Yep.
Ugh.
Mr. Tellini was asking you questions about insanity or some kind of mental break. And you said initially that's what you thought, but then you said now, no. What did you mean?
I just feel like it's too much got done for you to be saying that now, for her to be saying that.
Well, do you think when she was telling you that there's softball equipment in the suitcase, she knew right from wrong, she had the capacity to form the intent to do things?
Yep.
Actual meeting overruled.
Those are my questions, Jar. Thanks.
Do any of the jurors have any questions for Mr. Lowry?
I'm sure they do.
Like we have one.
Okay.
Counsel, retrieve that question and approach, please.
Fuck you, Tisha. Jasmine. The fuck your name is.
We're going to switch to a different view here. Just one
I
second.
know, Elena.
Let's try this one.
And I think that that's going to, I think that that stood solid with the jury. the fact that he's like, we thought maybe she did have a snap, right? She had a break. But now, no. It's her family. Too much happened. You didn't go insane.
Actual discussion where the judge may be mouthing the words on the sidebar.
Yeah, fuck you, Tisha.
Let's take this one. Oh, we can't show that either.
Why is he so red? First of all, no, we're jumping back for a spec. Tortellini, why are you so red? I remember this when I was watching it in real time. Sir, like, please make sure your blood pressure is monitored. I don't think that is normal. Jesus. But then again, he's defending Letecia Stauch. My blood pressure would be up too.
We can't show that either.
He does cerebellum. Fuck you, Tisha.
Mr. Lowry, do you remember where the green suitcase was retrieved from when you were getting the defendant's belongings at the house?
No.
I will allow reasonable follow-up as to that question only. Prosecution.
When was the first time you saw that green suitcase?
When we was moving to switching the vans.
Did you ever see it come out of the house when you guys are moving things out of the house into the first van?
No, not that I can remember.
Thanks, Jeff.
Defense.
Hey, Mac, I'm gonna
Thank you, Mr.
put you in
Lowry.
timeout
Step
for
down.
the day.
Just watch your step.
Don't think your comments are appropriate.
I just want to watch him walk out. Fuck you.
Prosecution, call your next witness, please.
All right, I'm gonna stop there because I know Bendy has a live that's starting. So that was intense. We went from Spencer Wilson, which I love when she gets exposed, to such a heartbreaking. I don't know, man. And I talked about this often because what we don't give enough grace for, in my opinion, in the true crime community and stuff, is the guilty party's family. They're victims too. But Dakota described it, right? He went back to that town that they live in and they got looked like they were guilty, that they were criminals, right? And I'll be honest, my first reaction isn't sympathy for Letecia's family, especially when you have Aunt Brenda in the forefront acting the most, right? But the truth is that they are victims too. I'll drop it, Amy. They are victims too, and I can't imagine how difficult that must be. But that was heartbreaking testimony. It was heartbreaking and it was heavy. But again, just thinking about how many times they came within inches of finding Gannon, with him being in the storage room and the officer literally looking right there, inches away, to them going to the airport to look for the Tiguan right after Letecia moves it from there, to Dakota reaching his hand out to take the suitcase from Letecia. Like, always one step behind. But she has many victims. Many victims. So let me jump back for our missing children for tonight's live. We have Isaiah Carter Atkins, who has been missing since December 4th, 2023, out of Auburn, Alabama. He is 1 year old. He is a cutie fucking patootie. And we have an associated child, Kalani May Bagaj. She is 3 years old. They've both been missing since December 4th, 2023. If you or anyone you know has information on their whereabouts, please contact the Lee County Sheriff's Office at the number located in blue. So we're going to go Jade raid over to Bendy's. Bendy, you guys know I've been talking about the gypsy stuff. Bendy obviously is on top of the gypsy stuff. And so if you guys have kept up, there was a panel where Fancy confronted Ron. Ron, Gypsy's father, joined the panel. And it was uncomfortable, to say the least. He's clearly not educated truly as far as Gypsy's past and her medical issues. And I don't know. It's a lot. And so Bendy is going to be going over it and discussing it and giving her thoughts and her feedback. Hi, Gaia. So yeah, it was a lot, to say the least, but I think Chrissy and Gypsy are the ones running the show, and her dad, I do not think, listen, I always side-eyed him, because it's like, how do you have a child and not know anything that was going on back before the murder happened? But I truly think he's being willfully naive. But I think Gypsy's dangerous, honestly. Still currently dangerous. And her behavior to this day really proves that. So Bendy's gonna be going over all the Gypsy stuff, all of the tea. So we will Jade raid over there. Thank you so much for being here. Again, I know it was heavy and sensitive, but I really do appreciate every single one of you. And yeah, so I will see you over at Bendy's.
She keeps on. She keeps on. She keeps on. She keeps on. She keeps on.
You can hear the music over 26 miles away. Smiling is happy, and happy is here to stay. Yeah.
Keeps on. 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 She keeps on threatening me.
The people are like really nice. Like everybody knows my name.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name.
For the interviews, because I don't have any fancy clothes.
Go to my closet, you take whatever you need. You too, Brennan. You guys gotta look sharp. It's the most important day of our lives, okay?
Okay, Dad.
What's your name? What's your age? Where you from? What's your sign? Who you love? What's your style? What you do? phony. Already smashed, so I'ma let the homie. RP my cash and RP a Kobe. If you're born in September, then you know you're my type. If I see you on Tinder, then I gotta swipe right. If you're born in October, then you're just like me. Here's a resume, can you fill this out, please? What's your name? What's your age? Where you from? What's your sign? Who you love? What's your style? What you do? What you drive? Stop, drop, and roll. Do that. Do it like a pro. Do that. Stop, drop, and roll. Do that. Do it like a pro. Do that.
Any objection? All objections